Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you all so much for being with me here today. I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. Thanks for being with me here. Today, I'm super excited to share with you Mobile Fidelity's latest one-step of the Van Halen catalog that they are doing. It is fair warning. It is actually their fourth studio album released in 1981. It followed Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2, and of course, Women and Children First. And we've done a video on all of these, and I'll put the links to all of them in the description below. But today we're going to talk about Fair Warning. Really not one of their most commercially successful albums. Uh, Fair Warning is, but I think it's got some of their greatest music. I think it's got great, and boy, I tell you what, great headbanging rock and roll, great rock and roll music on this album. So today we're going to go ahead and talk about this album. We're going to compare it to a 1981 Jacksonville pressing version of the album, and we'll also compare it to the 2022 Chris Bellman mastered album as part of the Rhino box that they had done back in 2022. We'll compare it to those. We'll kind of rank it. We'll talk about the music, but let's go ahead and get started and talk about what we get within the box. But first, if you like what you see, please go ahead and subscribe. I have got some really fun stuff coming down the pike. We got some great new releases coming out. I've got some audio gear that I want to talk with you about that I've been listening to. I've been demoing speaker cables and so forth as part of my quest to upgrade my audio system. So I got a few of that stuff coming up. So please, if you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. But as always, please leave your comments in the comment section below. Very much important to me. I appreciate hearing from you, love getting to know you, and most importantly, thank you for the suggestions, for the ideas, for your assistance in this process of updating my audio system. You've been fantastic at that. Also, just would love to hear what you're thinking about Van Halen, Fair Warning, or any of the Van Halen albums. Let me know what you think of my video here and my comparison on my review of Mobile Fidelity's One Step of Fair Warning. Please leave those comments in the comment section below. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's go ahead and get started and talk about what we get in the box. But before I do that really quick, the band members are pretty much the same as it was for the first three albums. You got Alex Van Halen on drums, of course, Eddie Van Halen on lead guitars, and on this album, synthesizers. You've got Michael Anthony on bass, and then of course you got David Lee Roth on lead vocals. And then all of them are participating in backing vocals, of course. And so it's really pretty much the same band as Van Halen, their first album. And I think these musicians are fantastic. I love this. I love these albums. These first six albums that Mobile Fidelity is doing. Of course, now we have the fourth. All three of the ones that they've done, I'll put the links to those videos in the description below. I think they've all been fantastic. They've done a great job. Before I talk about what's in the box, I've got it setting out right here to make it a little bit quicker. We all know that Mobile Fidelity, as of late, and really going back quite a while at this point in time, they copy the original master tapes, in this case Fair Warning, to DSD, in this case 256. And then, of course, they take that to their analog console and then to lathe. Those of you that watched the video that I did just, I don't know, a month or so ago on my AXPONA 2025 report, Mobile Fidelity had a session that I attended where they explained their philosophy of why they use the DSD process in copying the original master tape. And I'll put the link to that video in the description below. It was really quite an interesting discussion that they provided to us, allowed us to ask questions, and they answered them. And it really kind of, for the most part, even though I'm not a big fan of a digital step in my analog, I understand what they were doing, and I understand their process and why they do it. And I'll put the description of that video, the AXPONA 25 report, in the description below. But so there is that digital DSD 256 in this album. So what are we getting in the box? Well, we get a copy, a rendition kind of the album cover. I think Mobile Fidelity does a nice job. I think the colors are very, very nice. I think they really been doing really good with these as far as their one steps. I'll show you the album. Okay, these are dual 45 RPM albums. I hope you can see that without a lot of glare. It's pressed on their super vinyl, which personally I think is one of the quietest vinyl, if not the most quietest vinyl on the market today. It's super quiet. They do send you out these album sleeves that you can put the albums in. They don't ship them in these album sleeves, which is a good thing, but they do send those out, which is really kind of a neat touch. So anyway, that's what you're getting in the box, and I do like the slip cases. I like them so much better than the former method of their one steps. That's what you get in your box for $125. So let's go ahead and talk about the sound quality of the Mobile Fidelity One Step 45 RPM, and let's see what Krieg Wunderlich has done with this album. Let's check out and go through the album songs, and then at that point we'll go ahead and compare the 1981 Jacksonville pressing to it, as well as the 2022 Chris Bellman Rhino box set version of the album. Okay, starting on side one. Now keep in mind, the only two songs that as I recall, that really saw a whole lot of commercial, I don't even know if it was a whole lot of commercial activity off this album, was Unchained and So This Is Love, were really the only two songs that really were FM radio back when this album was released, even though I think the entire album has got some really great music on it. And we'll talk about that as we go through each of the songs. Okay, dual 45 RPM, double album, side one. First song, Mean Streets. Eddie's guitar is absolutely fantastic. It's clean, clear, and extraordinarily detailed on the Mobile Fidelity. But really what grabs your attention and holds you is the drums. Alex Van Halen's drums are something else. And really, to be honest with you, it's through the entire album. The drums are just in particularly extraordinarily well recorded. David's vocals up front, where they should be, sound absolutely pristine. Backing vocals, pretty much the same. Actually, you can hear Michael Anthony's bass. It has a good foundation, and it has really good proper weight. Second song on side one, Dirty Movies. Percussion at the opening of the song is fantastic. You got to listen to it. You got to hear it. This is one to vet it out with, to vet the album out if you're not familiar with it. Bass guitar and drums have incredibly fantastic, proper weight and extension on them, at least in my opinion. And definition. David's vocals are once again absolutely excellent. Eddie's guitar is clean and very high-end extended. It sounds great, not edgy, not over the top at all. This track here, Dirty Movies, turn the volume up. In fact, you can't listen to this album and not turn it up. It's just that great. Okay, rolling over to side two, Sinner Swing. Excellent drums, once again, and that's going to be throughout. You're going to probably hear me talk a lot about that. David's vocals are excellent with great clarity. Bass guitar is very well defined, and Michael Anthony's bass has very good detail to it. It really does. You can very well pick it out, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that when we get to these other pressings here in just a second. Backing vocals, once again, are excellent. The mix is wonderful. David's voice is just in the mix properly. It sounds perfect. It just sounds great. It's a great, great mix. Side two, Hear About It Later. Excellent guitar entry. Clean and clear drums are powerful and perfectly extended without being overbearing. In other words, when I say that, it sounds like a proper drum. It doesn't sound over embellished. It doesn't sound overdone. It just sounds like a proper, the drums sound great and they have good weight. A bass drum, if you hear one live, sounds really pretty. Depending on how hard it's struck, it can really sound quite deep and extended. It does here. It sounds great. This track is just a rock one that you just got to turn it up and you got to rock. This is a rock album. You've got to turn up and enjoy it to really appreciate the great recording that it is. Vocals, once again, are excellent. Percussion is wonderful. Extended, the whole album is just really has good definition and really very, very nice detail. Okay, rolling over to side 3, Unchained. This is probably one of the songs that was a little more popular on the album, other than probably So This Is Love. Unchained is a pretty good album. Eddie's guitar sounds great, excellent clarity on this track. David's vocals are clean and well defined. It really does sound really good. It's a great track to turn up. Second song on side 3, Push Comes to Shove. This track I probably like the most on the album. It's just got a great opening with wonderfully powerful drums, very well defined. Excellent vocals by David, excellent bass and lead guitar. Michael Anthony's bass is really well defined. I think with decent weight, it sounds really good. Eddie's guitar licks on this is just fantastic. They're extended, they're clear, they're well defined. Drums, once again, I have to keep bringing that up. The drums on this track are fantastic. It's incredible. Another track you probably ought to vet out. It's more of a laid-back track if you want. If you think there's a laid-back track on the album, this is probably it. And it just sounds absolutely wonderful. It's got a great, it just sounds great. One that you definitely want to turn up, even though it's laid back. Moving over to side 4, So This Is Love, probably the most popular song on the album, at least from my perspective anyway. It saw the most playing time, most recognizable from Fair Warning, but great song nonetheless. Drums, once again, are just utterly fantastic. Eddie's guitar, bass, and Michael Anthony's bass just sound great with great detail. Just really fine recording, extremely well recording. Backing vocals are superb. Extension on Eddie's guitar licks with extraordinarily clean sound on that top end is really wonderful. Sunday Afternoon in the Park, this is where Eddie Van Halen has a synthesizer. It sounds really good. It's a kind of a short little track. It's just a neat thing. Sounds really good. Drums, guitars, sounds really good. Last song on side 4, One Foot Out the Door. Drums are absolutely excellent. Another great song. Eddie's guitar is clean and extended, and it just has great sound to it. Mobile Fidelity, in my opinion, Krieg Wunderlich, and I hope I'm saying his name right, I think did a super job. It's very well balanced. It doesn't go too over the top on the top end. It doesn't over embellish the bottom end, yet it brings out the bottom end with excellent definition and I believe proper weight. Okay, so let's jump in and kind of compare what Mobile Fidelity with the One-Step of Fair Warning, let's compare that to the 1981 Jacksonville pressing and the 2022 Chris Bellman pressing. Now, both of these albums sound great. Even the original 1981 sounds great. I happen to be fortunate enough, I don't know how in the world it's as clean as it is, but it's clean because it's been played a lot, but it's really quite clean. And I'm just going to use like 3 or 4 of the songs. On track 1, on side 1, Mean Streets, it sounds really good on the 1981 Jacksonville pressing on Warner Brothers. It sounds good, but it just doesn't have that top end and bottom end extension that it does on here. Plus, it just lacks definition. It just lacks definition. Now, I know on some rock and roll albums, definition can really harm what you're intending to hear. It doesn't do that here. It just doesn't. It still retains that turn up the volume, let me rock with you attitude that the original album has. It doesn't lose that in any way, shape, or form. At least in my opinion, it doesn't do that. Now, on Mean Streets, compared to this one, this album here, the Chris Bellman, this is a very good album. It sounds better. Very easily best the 1981 pressing by quite a bit. It really does sound much better. Better detail, better extension, top and bottom, but really and truthfully, it's probably, in my estimations, 70% of what this album is. And I'm being straight. That's just, from my analogy, that's what I believe. I just, it just, it's much better than the original pressing, the Jacksonville 1981 pressing, but it's just uh, not as good as this one, the 1981. But boy, I tell you what, the MoFi just takes it another step. I believe this one's probably 70 to 75% of what this album is. And the difference between the Mobile Fidelity and the 2022 Rhino box set version is really just top end extension and bottom end extension and massive amounts of detail. Plus, one other thing that probably brings all of that together and probably is one of the big factors in it: quiet vinyl. This is super quiet, not so much. Better than the original by a little bit, but nowhere near the quietness of the super vinyl here. Dirty Movies on the 1981 pressing, it sounds good. Once again, it's good. Mine's free of snap, crackles, and pops. Sounds pretty good. It rocks. It gets you moving. But boy, I tell you what, when you compare that to the One-Step, it it's really hard to listen to this album anymore because this is so much better and it sounds so much better. Very similar, the 2022 Chris Bellman Rhino. It's a great album. It sounds great. The thing I like about this album, as well as the 33 RPM, I love that 33 RPM flow. I really like that. I don't like to turn the album over so much, but I can't deny the fact that the Mobile Fidelity just absolutely outshines uh, either one of these. And once again, uh, uh, on Dirty Movies, I would probably have to say, I don't know, 70 to 75%. Uh, the Chris Bellman 2022 version album, it's 70% of what this album is. It just doesn't it just doesn't reach that top end and bottom end extension, and just lacks a definition. And of course, the vinyl's super quiet. If I was to turn it over to side two and just talk about Center Swing, another fantastic turn up the volume sound, or track, excuse me, pretty much the same. The drums on the album here are better than they are here. They have a fuller, better sound, but they absolutely lack the definition that the Mobile Fidelity has. It just isn't there. And when you've got these three copies in the room, it's hard to listen to these when you know you got that. And so, and the music, I love the music. Fair Warning is a great album. Check it out, vet it out. Not huge commercially. You're not going to find all the great big hits on here that you do the rest of the catalog that Mobile Fidelity is doing. Like the first three albums got some pretty good hits on those. Not so much here. But the music is still fantastic. It is still Van Halen. It is still Eddie Van Halen with his incredible guitar licks, and David Lee Roth and his crazy vocals. It's still there. And even though this is cleaned up, extended on the top and bottom end, and gobs of detail, it doesn't lose its ability to rock. It just doesn't. This thing insists that you turn it up, crank it up. You got to listen to it that way. Ranking these albums, obviously, it's pretty easy from my description and my comparison. Third place is obviously the 1981 Jacksonville pressing. Second place would certainly be the Chris Bellman Rhino box set version of the album. Both are great. If you're not a huge Van Halen, you can't go wrong with either one. They're great albums. But if you're a Van Halen crazy guy and you want the best thing, the best sounding album of Fair Warning, there's no question what it is. It's this one here, the Mobile Fidelity One-Step. It is fantastic. So this would be number 1, 2, and 3. Great music, great albums, but really the Mobile Fidelity is far superior, at least in my opinion, through my system and through these aging ears. You just got to turn it up. It just sounds fantastic. I think Mobile Fidelity has turned a corner. And I've talked about this a little bit in a video or two ago. I think they've turned the corner, and I think some of the albums that they've done, and I've not been buying nowhere near what I used to of their albums. I just haven't. I've passed on the Joni Mitchell One-Steps. Whether that's a smart thing or not, I don't know. But I just haven't purchased those. I've been buying the SACDs. But I'm passing on a lot of those. And so I love Van Halen. Can't wait to get the next two. Super excited for those. But I think what they've done is a great job. I think they've turned a corner. I think they're doing good work. I've been very impressed with the albums that I have purchased from Mobile Fidelity as of late. This is one of the better ones. If I had, and I probably shouldn't do this, but I will, if I had to rank sound quality between the 4 Mobile Fidelity One-Steps that have been released today to this date, including fair warning, this one's got the best sound. Literally has got the best overall balance and best sound top to bottom. This album, in my opinion, if you're looking for a rock and roll album to demo your system, to show your friends, hey, look what my system can do, here it is. This album is great. It is fantastic. It rocks, and it has got gobs and gobs of detail. Thank you all so much for watching. As stated before, we have got some really fun videos coming down the line. We got some great releases that are coming up. Steely Dan, The Royal Scam. I think we got a couple more of the Atlantic 75 albums coming out. Rhino just announced Belladonna, Stevie Nicks, and Wilco, an album from Wilco. Excited for that. FM, I believe it is. Really excited for those. We got a lot coming down, not to mention some SACDs and CD videos that I've got in mind. I'm going to be talking about Nora Jones and the Analog Productions SACDs of her catalog. Wow. Got some great stuff coming down the road. Thank you so much for watching today. Have a great day.